All right, it should be live now. Maybe there's a few second delay.
Okay, so it's not showing up as live yet on my phone. Here on the live stream, it did just say we're about to go live, and I clicked OK. Here we go. There we go. Now
there
we're
it is.
on.
Okay, now we're
Yep.
live.
Yep.
All right, welcome back everybody to Joshua's Magic.
It's not showing up as live yet on my phone.
Can you mute
here on the live stream, it did
mute
just
that,
say we're
Dawn?
about to... All right.
Okay, I think we're good now.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome everybody. I've got a special guest here today, Dawn D. Stone, or Dawn Daniels, depending on which day of the week it is. And yeah, she's a tarot card reader and has a lot of experience with that. I was thinking of doing an interview with her for a little while, and then she offered to have some free readings on a live stream she did on Facebook, and the one she gave me was very accurate. You know, I wasn't expecting it to be like inaccurate necessarily, but I was surprised at the level of accuracy. So I decided to have her on. So welcome, Dawn.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So at the end of the live stream, if anybody wants, Dawn is willing to do a few tarot card readings. If not, we might try something else out. But anyway, so let's get into it. Tarot cards. What are tarot cards? What are they all about? Why do people use them? What's the purpose of them?
Okay, so I want to preface this with there is no right or wrong way to use tarot cards. So the questions I'm going to be answering are from my perspective and what I've learned along the way in my spiritual journey. Many people use them for many different things, but tarot cards are a set of 78 cards with images, symbolism, pictures on them, many different colors, numbers, and it uses a little bit of numerology, of symbolism, the archetype of the actual cards. So it uses a little bit of everything, but it taps into your intuition. So when I'm looking at a card can literally have physical meaning. So if I was to go look up the Page of Wands on the internet, it's going to have tons of meanings that this card would represent. So I can also read it intuitively by looking at the picture. And to me, as I'm looking at this picture, the things that stand out to me today would be the bright blue sky. And the image of this man was looking at the top of his wand where there's a little green leaf growing. So to me today, this card would indicate the beginning of something about to grow, about to blossom. And the blue, there's many different meanings for blue as well, but this is a communication. Blue represents speaking and getting a message out, a good message out to people. The page in itself represents something new or youthful or in its beginning stages. So tarot basically is used to help us in many ways. It can help us answer questions. It can help us gain clarity in life or certain situations. Sometimes things happen in our life that we just are struggling with finding deeper understanding for. So tarot is amazing at helping us find the bigger picture and the meaning behind what's going for, a deeper understanding, understanding of what I'm going through at this time in my life. It helps me to make decisions. Let's say I'm faced with 2 different jobs I would like to join, or 2 different situations. If I've got tarot as a tool, I can help myself make the best decision for the outcome I'm hoping to achieve from said situation. It helps you find direction. It also is a great tool to help you deepen and enhance your intuition. Since taking up tarot, it has really helped me tap into a deeper side of myself, and my intuition has become much stronger, and that helps me out in day-to-day life or in interactions with people. But I love using tarot the most as a tool for shadow work.
So let me just ask you a quick question. How has that process worked in developing your intuition?
So for instance, okay, so developing your intuition, tarot would just be one of the tools. Developing your intuition in itself, there are many ways you're going to want to do that, but we're speaking about
But
tarot.
your specific journey, how has tarot, you doing that, learning that, using that, how has that developed your intuition?
Okay, so for instance, let's say I am stuck between not believing somebody in my life. I'm just going to use an example, okay? Because this is one most people kind of get stuck on sometimes. So let's say you have somebody in your life, boss, boyfriend, whatever it is, girlfriend, you have somebody in your life, and you're not really sure because you're sensing something or you feel one way, but your mind might be telling you something else. And so you might kind of feel that internal conflict and not really sure. If I take the time and center myself, meditate first, get out my tarot deck, shuffle it well, and I ask it, a lot of this depends on the questions you're asking as well. But let's say I ask a question similar to, what is it I'm sensing about this person? And I shuffle, and the card that comes out, maybe let's just say it's the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is going to be a card that actually represents lying or cheating or some sort of deception or dishonesty. Now, on the other side, this card also does have positive qualities, but what I'm saying is, so this card would indicate, okay, so maybe what I am sensing is that feeling of something's not right. Something doesn't sit right with me. And I'm not wrong because the card is now verifying that. So together now, I'm going to go back to that feeling I'm sensing, that uneasiness or whatever it is for this particular situation. And now I can identify this feeling or this sensation is going to be one I'm going to learn to identify as lack of trust or somebody that maybe I can't trust wholeheartedly yet. Okay. So that's how it works in developing your intuition. So for instance, let's say I ask that same question, what is it about this person I'm sensing right now? And I pulled out the Emperor card. This is going to say this is a very loyal, stable person or energy that this person is embodying. And so then if I'm like, well, that's kind of different to me because I'm feeling worried or stressed. Now it's going to indicate that those feelings I'm feeling are actually my shadow. So now I can go, okay, this is something within myself I still need to kind of work on because I'm projecting it out onto other people. And instead of really truly feeling the free energy flow and able to just accept the situation for what it is. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Well, that leads us into what you were going down with the shadow work, and how do tarot cards lead into that?
So for me, I came from a background of severe trauma. And so it was time to do shadow work. I'd been running from it my entire life. I've tried therapy and doctors probably 20 to 50 times. It's just such massive amount of times. I was like, it's just not for me. When I finally had the situation and time in my life all come together where it was time for me to focus on my shadow, tarot became my best friend. It allowed me to focus on me instead of so much. Now, tarot can be used in many ways. Let me give a sidebar here. Tarot can be used in many ways. There are people who use tarot to energetically spy on other people. My personal belief system is that is kind of breaking spiritual integrity. So I try not to use it for that particular reason, unless there's a really solid reason behind it. But I use tarot to tap into myself. What does Dawn need to know today? What does Dawn need to work on today? What energy can Dawn embody to have the most successful outcome in her day or this situation or this life? And that is how tarot has become my best friend, because it's allowed me to slow down a little bit, step back into my feminine energy, because we live in a masculine dominated energy world. And it's about doing and fixing and going and hustling. And really your feminine nature is a little bit more about slowing down and just, how do I feel about this right now? Asking yourself questions like that. When you do this, you're addressing your shadow. So for instance, we're going to use the example I just used.
So
I'm
when you
worried.
say your shadow, for people that might not know, what is that? And
Your
what is shadow?
shadow are aspects of yourself that are hidden or subconscious, usually more on the subconscious level. So, for instance, let's say I got yelled at a lot as a child. Okay. What happens during that time is we're kind of shut down. And so instead of being able to speak up and say, hey, that hurt my feelings, or I don't like it when you talk to me, as a child, you usually are kind of forced to just listen to the adults and you're being programmed a certain way. If your programmer, your parents, or those around you, adults around you, are not always in the healthiest place themselves, they can project a lot of their own issues onto you. And so you grow up with repressed feelings and emotions that just need to be brought out into the open. So, for instance, if you hurt my feelings right this very second, Joshua, and I was just to say, Joshua, that hurt my feelings, I feel like you're not respecting me, no shadows created because I addressed it and I just exposed it. If I just held it in and walked away, eventually what happens is that shadow begins to grow and build on itself. So that is what your shadow is. It's all your unconscious or hidden fears, thoughts, belief systems that you have created or that have been basically created into you or cast into you when you were programmed. Again, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it can be stuff that's even not as traumatic as other stuff. Like
Absolutely.
there's lots of stuff people are repressing or not really dealing with or whatever. It doesn't all have to be from like really harmful negative experiences as a child.
Absolutely. That's just the only way I'm really coming at it because of my past. But
Yeah.
absolutely, you are hitting it right on. It doesn't have to always be trauma at child or is your childhood. There are some people that are just actually born into this lifetime with pre-existing shadow that wasn't perhaps dealt with in a past lifetime, or as we can say, karma that wasn't handled. So they need to actually handle it in this lifetime. So you actually can be born in with darker shadow as well. And again, please don't confuse the words dark or shadow, at least for the sake of this video, as bad, because they're not, synonymous.
Yeah. It occurs to me now the shadow could even be some sort of incoming energy or aspect of your consciousness that's not manifested yet. You know, maybe it's a part of your soul or your spirit, and now's the time when it starts to come through, but initially it's not really clear, and so shadow work might even help with that.
Absolutely. And I love that you are addressing that and bringing that into it, because we will never fully understand in this incarnation the power of the mind or the power of all the energies that are floating around us daily that we can't see. So the unseen. And that's another thing tarot really helps us with, is understanding the unseen.
And speaking of unseen, if you're watching this right now, please leave a like on it. It'll help get it out to more people, and the unseen can become seen, at least.
Yes. Share, like, follow, all of the above.
So what can you tell us? I mean, you've already given us a few, but can you go through some other examples of different cards and what they mean or could mean?
Sure. So what I'm going to do is find a couple major arcana cards here, because the thing is about the tarot deck is there's 78 cards. 22 of these cards are what we call major arcanas. The other, I believe it's 56, are actually what we call minor arcanas. So tarot was, I thought it was like back in the 1800s, but I'm actually incorrect. It was actually even before that. Tarot was a card game originally. It didn't necessarily come out as a tool of divination in its original creation. It was created in, I believe it was Italy, is what I kind of found through my studies, and it came out in the late 15th century. It was actually a card game called Tarocchi. And at that time, as you see the size of my tarot card now, at that time, the cards were much bigger and they were painted on. So they weren't flimsy like this and easy to use like this. And it was an actual card game that you played similar to what we would know as bridge. There was trump suit that she played. People sat around and actually played.
Was it also like 78 cards instead of a normal, what is it, 60 cards that are in regular?
think 52. I don't correct. I'm not trying to correct you, but I believe it's 52 in a
52.
regular or a regular card deck.
Yeah.
And so yes, there is. It's
I was
78
thinking, I
cards.
guess I was thinking Magic the Gathering, which has 60 cards. So let's not get confused with that either. But so it was 72 back then in Italy when it came out, or
78, yes.
78.
Yes. And then, there's been a million spin-offs of different types of tarot decks, but the main format of tarot reading is the same. Now you're also going to have oracle cards, and those are different depending on the creator, so they're not the same. But tarot is an energy source that allows me to tap in. So I'm going to use 2 cards here. I'm using major arcanas, and these are what we are known. The 22 major arcanas are known as archetypes. I happen to pull up the number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. And I pulled up I believe this is 15. It is the Devil card. Okay. So now our minds, it's very common for our mind to hear the word devil and go to a dark place. But in tarot, the Devil card actually represents the god Pan. And he is a god. And this also represents the Capricorn horoscope sign. But tarot, if you look at this, I'm going to use this one because it's easy to identify. It's kind of a scary picture, right? I mean, it's got dark in the background. The guy's got horns, or, Pan has horns here. He's got 2 people chained to him. Okay. And it's like he's almost lording over these people. Okay.
pretty dark.
So the thing is that's what the tarot card, the Devil, actually represents things we are in bondage to, things we are struggling to break away from. So the Devil card would represent anything from addiction to mindset, low mindset believer. This can be lack mentality. This can be karmic relationships. I can't get away from my ex. No matter how many times I've tried to break up, I keep going back, because the tarot is representing, this card in tarot is representing that there is a bondage or an energetic link that you're struggling with. And so this is all about shadow work. This is all about, it's time to get some shadow work. So when the Devil card comes up, this indicates somebody can be stuck in their shadow right now, and they're still kind of learning some lessons. It can also be as simple as, look, it's time to break free from the devil. It's time to break free and eliminate these things from your life. Let's go back to the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune, it's a wheel in the middle, and all of life is kind of represented by circles. Okay. The circle of life, it continues. We cycle through, we go down, and then we come back to the top and start a new cycle. And that's kind of what this card is representing. But we also have 4 different archetypes, horoscope signs on here. Each of these represents, we have an angel up here. I don't even remember what this one is called. It's some kind of bird.
Griffin.
Yeah, it does look like a griffin, actually.
Is it griffin, or
it does look
more
like
than one head?
No, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
That's why I can't remember it, because I was brought up to believe that actually has negative connotations. So that's probably why my mind still doesn't want to accept it.
Wait, they said a griffin had negative connotations?
I was introduced by a griffin when I was at a restaurant eating as a young girl, and a car pulled up that had a griffin on the very front portion of it. And the person I was eating with, and I say young girl, I think it was like 16. And the person I was eating with was, "Oh my God, do you know what that means?" And I said, "No, it's a gold bird." I didn't even think anything about it. And she goes, "No, that means they're part of the KKK." And I mean, she just went into all this negative stuff. Well, I still to this day, I do know now that was probably a lot of her fears and projections and things she'd experienced as a result of that bird or that symbol. So I know not to cast that into my belief system. But the thing about your subconscious is, once the feeling, a thought, or a belief is rooted, it takes work to get it out.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting and sometimes unfortunate thing about symbols, is they can mean one thing in a tradition thousands of years old, and then they get it, like, there's an experience like you had, and all of a sudden it's a negative thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, the swastika, for example, was not just in one tradition like Hinduism or Buddhism, but like different traditions all over the world used that symbol. And then the Nazis got a hold of it and now it's like the worst thing ever, you know, and there's no redeeming it seems.
And that's the same thing with the we'll use also, you're right, that is an excellent because the swastika wasn't anything bad before that. And the same with the pinnacle, the I don't know why.
Star.
Say it again. Yeah, the 5-point star. So that's actually just representing you know, all the elements, all of the elements coming together. You've got earth, wind, fire, sun, or excuse me, earth, wind, fire, water, and ether. So it represents that, but it also represents the directions. So it's not necessarily bad, but it's been turned into something bad. And for years after the witch persecutions and the witch trials, if anybody was associated with any type of pinnacle or the 5-point star, you were immediately cast as a witch or something bad. And so really it only takes one bad apple to start the ripple effect to change people's belief systems into something dark.
Yeah.
So back to the archetypes, there are 22 archetypes. They start off with the Fool. It starts off with the number 0. And that is really, I guess, for lack of a better way, not to get into numerology too much, it would be the sum of everything and the sum of nothing all at the same time. So the sum of 0 is the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a cycle. And the Fool card itself, it's going to represent new beginnings, a leap of faith, jumping into something new. So if the Fool card was to come up, I'm going to know that you're probably either starting a new cycle or about to start a new cycle, thinking of it, getting ready to start something new. And it goes all the way up to the number 21 card. And the 21st card is the World card, which would represent endings. You've already gone through a whole cycle and now you're at the end and you're ready to begin again. And it kind of just keeps leaping over and over. Does that answer any of your questions as far as the archetypes go, or do you want me to go a little deeper into them?
How does the major arcana play into like giving a tarot card reading? Like what's, you know, you got the major arcana, which is less than half the deck, and then you've got all the rest of the cards.
So your major arcanas are your main energies that are basically universal energies. And your minor arcanas are day-to-day energies. So like the best way to think about this is we say the weather, for instance, we'll use the weather. We have summer, spring, fall, and winter, right? So we have 4 major arcanas. You have 4 major seasons. But within each of those seasons, you can have hail days, rainy days. You can have, you know, days that are half sun, half, you know, broken down into each major season can change. So if I pull the Fool card, as we used earlier, it's going to represent that there is a new beginning that the universe is laying at my feet. It is time in my cycle to have a new beginning. Now I can pull more cards to clarify that, and it's probably going to pull out some more minor arcanas, and then it's going to tell me, okay, so I see Joshua, for instance, you're having a new beginning, or you're getting ready to start something new here. I pull 3 more cards and it might say, but I can tell you're kind of stuck in your head about this, or you seem to be running into a lot of obstacles, because the minor cards are going to talk more about your day-to-day things you can change, things you do have control over to fix. Major arcanas, we can't change those. It just is.
Interesting. So how did the major and minor arcana evolve? I guess it goes back to the question of the history of it.
Right.
So they had these giant cards that were a sort of game like bridge in Italy in, would you say, the 1500s?
Yes.
And then how did that now become this divination tool?
That actually, there really isn't any much literature on this. So I would have to give you my intuitive answer, which is not factual. Okay, I need to make that very clear. But my intuitive answer is we're playing cards once or twice a week, or we're playing cards often. And all of a sudden now I realize, wow, every time I pull that card, my day happens to be simultaneously in sync with that card. So you got to realize this is the 15th century. They don't have the access to the higher knowledge not everybody, that we are starting to finally open up into as a universe. So back then, you would probably have to start noticing something like, wow, this is crazy. This is aligning with my life, before you realize, I think there's something deeper here. There's something more mystical here, a mystical component versus just being a card game. So again, I can't answer that. I've actually looked for that answer, and pretty much it's all just people like me giving you their intuition on how it came into being, because all we know is from the late 15th century, when it started off as a major card game that actually took the whole country. I mean, they would literally, people would travel with their cards. They would only have 1 or 2 cards on them, but they would take their cards and then they would go find a local game or other people who were playing that game. And then they would, have their cards. So yeah, it is interesting. I wish I could answer in more depth there.
Well, it might be that it got co-opted at a certain point by gypsies or mystics or something, that they just decided, oh, this is real popular, let's start using this for, a divination practice, because people are used to this. So now we can sort of piggyback. That's another possibility.
That is actually a very strong possibility, because, and I don't know, I'm not trying to get too deep into I'm trying to stay on course here, but our minds
we can branch
are
out if
capable,
there's another interesting topic.
Our minds are capable of creating the very things that we believe in. So if I start to believe that tarot is sure syncing with everything, I happen to pull the tarot card or the tower card too. Big changes coming in, by the way, big, huge changes coming in.
Which card is it?
It's a tower card.
The tower.
Now it's represented by, it looks like a lot of destruction here. This is a tower that's blowing up. It got hit by lightning. There's people falling out of it. And as you see, it's like not the prettiest looking card either, but it's meant to kind of be startling, because the tower card, when it comes into people's life, it's representing everything you thought or believed in is about to change. It's all going to get wiped out and start back at ground zero so you can rebuild your new tower.
This big structure that everything was solid in, and now it's getting struck by lightning and people falling out of it.
Exactly. And this is actually where we're at as a in the United States for sure, but it's pretty much in the universe. Spiritually speaking, we are in tower moment right now, because old belief systems and dynamics and structures are beginning to get wiped out so that the new ones can come in. And this happens every, I think, 2,000 years or something similar to that.
If anybody in the live stream has any questions for Dawn, feel free to post them, and we'll probably try to get to those. Okay,
so I'm not really sure if I think I got off track there a little bit. Your original question you were asking was how it can be used to help increase our intuition.
That was a question. You said, sounded like you had a side topic, but then I derailed you by asking about the cards you pulled up.
I do that sometimes. I'm still learning my internet presence. So sometimes my nerves start to seek in a little and I get a little off topic. But this was also, tarot was also about the time pendulums and scrying, the use of crystal balls, runes, that's the other word, the other form that people use. These are all things that have been able to predict outcomes of situations. So here's the thing, and I just want to put this out there before you ask too many more questions. Be careful and be wise and use your own intuition when you are allowing anyone, no matter how experienced they are, to read your tarot. If the person who's reading your tarot is not spiritually doing their work to keep themselves balanced and grounded and unbiased, their shadows can project into your reading. So be aware of that. Always use your intuition. If somebody is giving you a reading, or if you're watching a random reading on YouTube and it just doesn't sit right with you, that's your intuition saying this isn't my reading. And feel free to just click off that reading and go to another one. Because a lot of times our human mind, our ego brain, will try to make a tarot reading fit into our situation. And it's not always going to work that way because it is working on deeper aspects of your shadow. So what other questions do you have for me?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to say it's good advice because you can't, I think you've also said, like, don't base major life decisions just on tarot cards.
Yes, yes. That is one of my big rules that I'm constantly repeating because I've actually had to dismiss some of my clientele because you can actually get addicted to the tarot. You get addicted to realizing that there are answers beyond your grasp, and they're really not. They're within everybody's grasp, but I've done the work. Maybe you particularly don't want to, so you find it easy to come to me for answers. But see, that's not what an ethical tarot reader is going to allow for very long. An ethical tarot reader is going to push you into learning how to use your own intuition as well. And I will have some people who say, when they give me a reading, they'll be like, don't say anything. I want to tell you everything I see. And I'm like, that's fine. But I've also had some say, I would like to interact throughout the reading. So it really does just depend on what you're the most comfortable with on the end of being a receiver of a tarot reading.
So you mentioned casting of runes, and of course there's reading tea leaves and casting of lots, which is actually where the word sorcerer comes from.
Yes.
In ancient Rome, they cast lots, and somehow that meant sorcerer back then, or it was translated later into that. But there's all sorts of forms of divination that use sort of objects or symbols that help with that. And so what's your understanding of the value of using external objects or symbols instead of just intuiting it yourself? Like what's the purpose of that, or what use do they serve? Why don't people just, go and try to intuit it without any of that?
Well, my answer to that would be like, let me try to relate this back to, let's say I want to start selling insurance for State Farm, but I've never sold insurance before, ever. I can't just jump in and assume I'm going to know everything. So the same thing is similar to your intuition. It takes time. Your intuition is an energetic muscle. So it's not an actual muscle that you have, but just like a muscle, you have to build it and gain strength by using it more. So the more you use your intuition, whether you're wrong or right, you're going to be guided into strengthening that intuition. And so I can just use my intuition if I've been practicing great practices and growing spiritually for many years, and just go, nope, I already know, I can tell. I can see it a mile away. I can feel it. I'm good. But let's say I'm not that person yet. And I'm just now starting to understand what intuition even is. I'm just now starting to say, oh, that's what those feelings always mean. Those are the times that it's really great to have symbols and cards and other things to help you, because you might not be at that place just yet where you're even sure of what your intuition is trying to tell you.
So you could look at them almost like training wheels on a bicycle.
Basically, yes.
Like it helps you get there, and then eventually you can, maybe just intuit it on your own. Though I think there is use to having these external things. Like when you're just in your own head, part of the way the intuition works, in my estimation, is, you're contemplating one outcome or another, doing this thing or not doing it. And sometimes you can get into sort of a binary black and white thing. Like, I'm going to either ask this woman out or I'm not. I'm going to apply for this job or I'm not. And sometimes the answer, the real value of a thing isn't the way you put it into certain terms, And so when you've got runes or tarot cards or whatever, it's not just a yes or a no, right? You get this card and then you get these three other cards, like you were saying, to clarify it. It's like, oh, I wasn't thinking about it in those terms. I didn't realize that aspect of it. It opens up things to you, and it's not always as should I or shouldn't I.
Exactly. And you really pinpointed it, because we're brought up in the ego. We're brought up in the mind, where the mind should control everything. And when you're starting to step into more intuitive or shadow work or divination practices, you're stepping into your feminine energy, which is dark energy. And that comes more based off of feeling and energy and emotion versus right or wrong, or I should do it or I shouldn't do it. Because sometimes, let's use that example. Should I ask this woman out? Yes or no? We may approach it that way, but the answer might be, yes, you should ask this woman out, but maybe you need to wait a little while till you bond a little bit deeper with her. Or, that's where the intuition and the tarot can come in handy, because it's not going to be so harsh, left or right or wrong. It's going to go a little deeper and help you out a little bit more.
So when you said female energy is dark, what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So, okay, this one, there's light energy and there's dark energy. Okay. And so technically dark energy is this bending of light energy. I'm still learning a little bit more on the metaphysical truth of all of that myself. So I don't want to speak too much on stuff I'm not 100% sure of. But what I do know is that in light energy, things are exposed. They're out. You can see them. You can understand them more. Everything is above the table, I guess is the best way to say it. Darker energy is more inside, internal, below the table. It's not always going to be seen. So for instance, you go to the gas station, your cashier is rude to you. On the external, you see somebody being rude to you, black and white. All you're seeing is what you see. But your intuition's going to come in and say, maybe he's having a really bad day, or maybe there's something deeper here. So don't take it so harsh, like, oh, he's just picking on me or giving me trouble. It's going to let you tap into a little bit of side of understanding. So that's what more darker energy is. And a lot of people will associate dark or dark energy with bad or evil, and they're not synonymous. Is evil or bad energy dark? Yes, but there's so much good in the dark. It's just like there's actually danger in the light as well. So we have to try to separate our mind and the linear thinking process it has taught us, good, bad, and dig deep into, kind of just settle into the darker energy. And that is, okay, let me find understanding from this good and bad. There's got to be something deeper here.
So what is the danger in the light, or potential dangers in the light?
So
I think people can obviously point out like, oh, here's the danger in the dark, but when you say danger in the light, what could that mean?
Okay, so for the term I'm using, I'm actually talking a little bit more about when we're going to get involved with entities and beings. Okay, so you have a lot of light beings and light energies out there, and for the most part, the majority of them, and I would probably say 98% are good. Light energy is good. But you do have some of the light energies that are more Luciferian, and they are extremely light. And these energies, it comes from intention, I guess, basically is where it comes from. But these energies have no problem playing tricks with your mind. So that's what I'm saying. You don't want to go too far into the light or too far into the dark. You kind of want to have balance down the middle, no matter which side you're playing with. But even in the light, there is some potential for having your mind played with a little bit.
Yeah, I actually watched this video reading an audiobook by Manly P. Hall, and this may add some clarification to what you're saying. But he talked about like darkness is not an evil thing, and sort of when the universe was not manifest at all, it was all darkness in a sense. And then, let there be light and creation happen, that sort of deal. But he was talking about the black magicians use a kind of a twisting of the darkness. And so it's not natural darkness that's part of the natural order of things. It's sort of twisting of things and an inversion of light or whatever. So yeah, I think when you're saying dark here, it's more a kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but a natural darkness, not this kind of like twisting of things for selfish ends.
Exactly. And that's when you're starting to step just a little bit more into energy manipulation, which can then lead to evil. And that's why we have to be careful. There's nothing wrong with magician work. I've always been into it. I love the idea that I can.
Well, my channel's name is Joshua's Magic. So.
Yes. So please don't. I just want to make sure I clarify my stance on this. But I approach it from a different place. It's all about intention, is really. So whether you're in the light or in the dark, if your intention is from an ugly place or to self-serve, it doesn't matter if you're using light or dark. And so, for instance, let's go back to what you had just said about, what did you just say? It slipped my mind about. Oh, well, it'll come back to me if it's meant to be, but it brought up how I speak for, because I actually speak for a ministry once or twice a month as well. And my minister, of course, my pastor, he's got 20 years of college in his religious belief system behind him. And so sometimes we will kind of come to a head on belief systems, and we never fight, but because we're both very open to hearing the other side. And one of the things he was preaching one day was about how bad the dark is. And so I literally, after church, had to take a second and say, I'm not sure if this is the church for me anymore. Let me tell you why I feel this way. And I went on to explain a couple of things he had said in his sermon and how I did not interpret them in a way that made me feel comfortable enough to continue with the ministry. And so then he was like, wait a minute, let me call you. And we literally had about a 2-hour long conversation. And he was like, okay, I need to make it myself very clear. When I'm talking about dark, I'm talking about evil. And I'm like, okay, see, that's where a lot of people will get caught up on wordplay. But I tried to explain to him, I said, even the Bible itself says in the beginning was the light, right? He created light. So that in itself proves that there was no light before that, which means there was darkness. But if what we can call God or consciousness or the great I am, million names for it, right? What has always been, that's indicating that he is also in the dark as well. And he was like, wow, you need to be preaching to ministers. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to explain to you that we lose those little aspects because we step into fear. And, I was brought up being told tarot was bad and I was going to go to hell if I read tarot. And so that was a huge thing I had to overcome within my belief system. I literally would have visions in my meditations of demons coming at me until one time, instead of running from them, I just sat there and I was like, okay, I am comfortable with who I am and I still choose this. And literally the demons just fled and I heard angels singing. I assume they're angels. It sounded like a chorus of just this, wah, and I haven't had an issue since. So it's about breaking through that fear is really what life is about.
Well, that's another sort of important point is like people often don't listen to what other people say, or they don't want to understand. Like, he used a certain term and he meant a certain thing and you had a different understanding of it. And, other people might have just like, oh, I'm quitting the church and like, oh, this woman is from Satan, so good thing she's out of here. But, both of you wanted to understand what the other one was saying. And it's particularly an issue in, spiritual and metaphysical stuff, because you've got all these different traditions that are talking about a lot of the same stuff, but they're using all sorts of words that are maybe even the same words, but referring to different things. And so I think it's really incumbent on us to try to understand what the other person is saying, and not just in spiritual stuff. I mean, political stuff is where there's a lot of contention today. And it's like, well, what do you mean that this issue is a problem, or this law is going to help people or whatever, and it like so much can be cleared up by just trying to understand what they're saying, the other person is saying, and arriving at some truth there.
I think, and I'm currently in this is, I'm running like 5 different current spiritual lessons as we speak, but one of the ones I'm learning is the art of listening. And because I'm great at talking, I came into this world with my throat chakra on. I can talk, but the listening, which is also throat chakra, I've struggled with. And so I think that you're bringing up a great point, because we go through our day-to-day life hearing people, but not listening to them, or vice versa. We can listen to them, but we're not hearing them.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of everything you're going to say back, I'm going to use that almost as confirmation bias, I guess is what you would call it. If you're saying things that agree with my belief system, I'm going to assume we're on the right path. And I'm going to assume that we have it figured out, right? That's
Yeah.
the ego. It's going to tell you that. But that's not always the case. Count yourself blessed when you come up against somebody who challenges your belief system. Follow those people. You don't have to listen to everything or believe everything they say, but these are the people that are here to help you catapult into a stronger self where you can then grow from what you've been ingrained with already.
So what's your process been in opening up to listening?
Ooh, that one's a good question. Meditation's really helping me a little bit more because I have to make sure I am in receptive energy. So I have to specifically, purposely put myself in feminine energy. Feminine energy is receptive. And so we're going to listen more. We're going to accept more. I tend to be by default, I'm supposed to be a divine feminine, and that is what I'm molding into. But by default, because of my upbringing, I was made or chose to adopt divine masculine energy. And so for me, I'm having to learn the art of respond and don't react. Giving my moment, if I'm really not 100% sure of what I want to say here, just sit for a second, and that's okay. Silence only makes the other person uncomfortable. And usually, most of the time, if you're with somebody who's open-minded, they're going to just sit there with you for a second and let you figure it out. When you're with somebody who's deep in their shadow, silence is uncomfortable, even with myself. So we have to remember that sometimes the answer comes from just silence. And that is how I'm increasing my hearing ability, is by just learning that sometimes the uncomfortableness in the silent is good for me.
Nice. So I've got another question for you, but if anybody wants to have a reading, just say so in the chat so we know you're down for that. Let's see. Yeah, one last question before we'll move on to the finishing of things. What was that card? The end of the cycle?
The world card.
The world card, yeah. Before we move on to the world card. So to get into some of the play devil's advocate for a minute, people say tarot is a bad thing sometimes. I actually just saw this other interview, which was kind of interesting, but at one point they said tarot and Ouija cards, these lead you down bad paths and stuff like that. So what do you say to people that have those criticisms or concerns about it?
I say they are absolutely speaking from a perspective that they have either been taught or learned or believe, but that it might be based in fear. Okay. So on the scale of frequency, fear is one of the lowest vibrating frequencies we can be emitting. In fear, there are a lot of assumptions and belief systems that we have that are there to protect us, right? So this is why I still will stand behind, be careful of who you get your tarot readings from, because that fear that these other people might be expressing, it's actually there to protect you. Okay. So there are going to be people that say, oh, tarot's bad, it's getting you into demons. Well, okay. I have to be fair here. It is getting you into your demons. It is a way to open up your demons, not like these external demons that are going to come out of the sky into your house and haunt you, but your demons, meaning things that you have suppressed. And yes, you are going to be opening these up. So if you're not ready for that journey, if you're not ready to delve into your shadow and the deeper aspects of yourself, so that you can transmute them into light, maybe tarot isn't the best decision for you to get involved with right away. But if you're open to understanding that the universe or God or creator or source, whatever name you want to use here, only has your highest interest at heart at all times, What's it going to hurt to go in and release a shadow or a demon, whatever you want to call it? It's a lot of it's wordplay, but I do agree. I think the churches back in the day, I believe a lot of them didn't want us to know who we really were. It was easier to program people to get them to listen and obey. And so we want to shut down the aspect of letting us go into finding out how powerful we really are. And so I think a lot of that fear-based and fear-mongering started to happen. Also, I do believe that there are people you should fear getting a tarot reading from. This is why I do believe when I hear that, I still have to take a step back and go, okay, are they persecuting me as a tarot reader? Or are they coming from a place where they've had a bad experience or they've been programmed to believe that? And so even then, I try to use it as a great opportunity to share, this has actually saved my life. Tarot has gotten me out of all of my addictions. It has literally turned my life where I am just learning to enjoy and just be happy and have peace. And these are things that are priceless that we spend our entire lives chasing after.
How did tarot help you get out of addictions?
Tarot's what, because tarot won't lie to you. Tarot is pretty blunt sometimes. And so, there was times, for instance, that I would ask, why am I struggling with, let's say I was in a bout of depression, or what we know as depression, many different names for it. But I would get out the tarot card and I would start asking questions like, why am I struggling with this? And in the beginning, I would get answers like, you're healing, or there's been trauma, or answers similar to that. But then in the last year, my answers have been a little more along the lines of, you're lazy. You have gotten too comfortable. You are more comfortable where you're at and fearing the new. And I'm like, ouch. But the truth is, the only one who can persecute me when I'm using tarot is me. And the same as the only one who can build me up is me. So getting a card that says, Dawn, you've been lazy lately, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to hear that. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I guess I have to be authentic with myself here.
Yeah. Especially if you get that and then you forget about it. And then you're like, oh, let me do tarot again. And it's like another similar card. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how it helped me was it started confronting me from a place of non-judgment. Your parents are going to judge you. Your parents are going to say, get up off the couch. You need to be out there earning work. So that's judgment. Your girlfriends or wives are going to be like, how come you're not doing this? That's judgment. Tarot doesn't do that. Tarot, the only one who judges you is you when you're using tarot. And so as you begin to heal or grow, you don't even have to be healing from something, but as you begin to grow, you learn to allow that energy of unbiased to come in and be like, okay, it just is what it is. I'm lazy. Okay. Does that mean I'm a horrible person? No, it just means I'm being lazy. Is that laziness going to get me to the things I'm trying to manifest? No. So now I need to change it. And that's how it was with my addiction. I would go in and ask, why can't I break this addiction? Or why can't I break up from my ex? Or all these addictions I had. And tarot was the one that was like, look, this is what it is. Deal with it. Or next question.
All right. It seems people are a little shy here with getting a reading on YouTube, which is
okay.
Somewhat understandable. But we had a backup idea if nobody was interested, which was we were going to do, you're going to do a reading for some of the major presidential candidates. And how do we want to structure this? Do we want to do a reading about their future, or what do you suggest here, Dawn?
So, we can do both. Here's the thing with tarot is that, and this is what people need to also understand. Anything from the future perspective is all just predictions. Okay. If you get a tarot reader who's telling you this is for sure going to happen in your future, just be wary of that, because nobody can determine the future except us, because we can change the future every second. Every word we speak, every choice we make, your future can just change. So I can predict the future based off the cards that come out. But personally, based on presidential status, I don't even know who's running. So I couldn't even tell you who the presidential people are.
I'll fill in that part for you.
Yes. I would think maybe we'd want to know about their intention. Like what their true desire in becoming president is. Are they trying to help the people, or are they trying to control the people? That might be a good question. Also, perhaps, yeah, we can go a little bit into what it's forecasting, what it does tend to look like, whether they're going to make it. And if they did make it, we can even ask that. If they did make it,
one thing could be who are they? Or,
yes,
you know, something like that. And then, yeah, what does their future look like? Because the ones you did, the other live stream I was on, it was past, present, and future, right?
Right. So we can do that. Definitely. I think we can do that. And you can pick a couple of the candidates again, because I don't even know who they are.
I got about 5 in mind of the most well-known people that are running. So
okay.
All right.
And it's going to be completely unbiased because I don't even know who they are. So
so what questions do you think would be best to ask?
well, I think what I'd like to do is you can present a person, and then I'm going to pull a card on their intention of why they're wanting to become president, or what their intention behind becoming president is. And then I can also do 3-card kind of past, present, future for them. How does that work?
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, let's start with the guy who's president now, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden?
Yeah.
I literally had to go, that's who president is? Okay, let's find out. All right, so for the sake of me getting ready to step out of the energy we were just in, speaking into more intuitive, I am going to spray just to change up the energy in here a little bit. And then I'm going to tap my meditation bowl, just so if anybody's wearing earphones, be aware that you might hear a sound for a second here. So anybody wearing earphones when they listen to that might get a little tickle throughout their body. That's the frequency coming through and blasting out some energy. So, all right, let's do Joe Biden. Clear and accurate messages, please, Spirit. We would like to find out some information on Joe Biden. We find out the intention of Mr. Joe Biden, our president of the United States, please. 1 card for intention. I may have to clarify, depending on which card comes up.
Yeah.
Intention of Joe Biden as president of this United States, please. Okay, so the card I got, this is a different tarot deck. This isn't a traditional tarot deck. This is the patient card in reverse. So that would be similar to the temperance card in reverse in tarot. So the temperance card in its upright would indicate somebody who wants harmony and peace and wants the world to heal, wants the everybody to be in union. In reverse, this is going to indicate that the intention, at least currently at the time of this card pull, is for disunion or disharmony. There is an intention behind his actions and choices to separate, to distort, to disperse. So I hope that helps that answer. Again, I'm not no clue on who these, I obviously know who Joe Biden is, but I don't know much about him. I hear things, but I don't pay attention. So let's go.
People can judge how accurate or not they feel this is themselves.
Exactly. So we are going to go with 3 cards now. I'm going to pull past, present, and future for Mr. Joe Biden, and we're going to see what comes up. Clear and accurate messages, please, Spirit. Oh, pardon me, I dropped some cards here. So I won't take these cards because they did fall, but I do take them into consideration. And I got the Judgment card and the 6 of Pentacles for anybody who understands tarot. The Judgment card is about a higher calling or reawakening something that's dying. And the Six of Pentacles would be about equal distribution of charity, give and take, serving others. So let's find out. Let's go again. Past card, please. Past card for Joe Biden as president and leader of the United States. A past card. Judgment card again. Okay, you literally just saw me and heard me shuffle them. Okay. And this is what came out when it hit the ground. And literally that's just what came out again. So the Judgment card in the past, it was in his intention and desire to step into this higher calling. It was a part of his life destiny to be in this position. It was actually part of his belief system and makeup, though, because it was a higher calling, to reawaken what was dying. So again, I can pull a tarot card to clarify this, because, you know, this could be him trying to reawaken old systems, or this could be him trying to wake people up from believing in those old systems. It can really go a couple different ways until you clarify it down a little bit. So we're going to go with this card right here. Okay, so the card is the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, if you look in this card, this is somebody, they've actually have a harvest here. They planted and they're waiting patiently on that harvest to come to fruition. So for him in the past, he actually was going into this, approaching it from a place of believing that this was his destiny. This is his higher calling, but he was trying to harvest. He was trying to plant. He was trying to grow. He was trying to make I would say, go as far as to say, make the country a place that is going to blossom. So he was approaching it in the past from trying to be patient. He was planting seeds. He was trying to grow a crop. All right, let me get one more clarification on this. Now remember, this is in past tense. Okay, so the card we got is the Six of Cups, okay? So this is a cup of generosity. This is a cup of giving people, giving. So, you know, he may have even been trying to, socialist is kind of the word I just heard. And again, I don't go 100% into politics, so forgive me here if my wordplay is a little incorrect, but socialist is what just come to me though. So this is more about maybe he was trying to get programs out there in the past that were going to help those that were less fortunate. But because of those programs, it was going to be, we had to follow a certain format to have those programs come into manifestation. You know him more than I do, so you can tell me if that's a little bit accurate or not. I don't know.
Well, I'll avoid commenting on it.
Okay.
It's more people, you know, can look into it for themselves, and the most interesting thing will probably be the future ones, because we'll be like, look back, oh yeah, you know, that card was indicating that, and this seems to be the same kind of thing happened, you know.
Right. So honestly, from the past perspective, he did have good intentions. I can't say whether he still does or not. We're about to find out, but it does look like this was actually a God ordained, because now the angel's sticking out to me when I go back and look at it. Now it's the angel that's sticking out to me, blowing the trumpet. And so that is like a higher calling, a God ordained destiny.
Well, I will contradict myself a little and just say, from what I understand, he's been wanting to be president for years and years. I think he even ran in like the 90s. But he had a scandal with plagiarism that kind of messed him up there. But I think him and his family have wanted him to be president for like almost his whole life.
So, and that would actually be, again, also indicated in your Seven of Pentacles. This is a card of something I've wanted for a long time, or something I've been planning on for a long time, or something I've been harvesting and I'm waiting for it to come into fruition. So that really is, again, anybody who is watching this, feel free to go look up the Judgment card, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups. And those would be for his intentions in the past. Okay. So now we're going to move into his current intentions. Excuse me. Okay. So the first card out that flipped over was the Five of Wands in reverse. Okay. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So normally this is what it looks like, people fighting, people playing games. You really can't tell if they're fighting or dancing or playing a game. It's just a lot of chaotic energy, what's being
Those
represented
are some big
here.
wands.
Yeah.
Those are almost like whole tree trunks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I always think it's people fighting, but you never know. But so this was in reverse, and the strength card also is right behind that. And the Queen of Pentacles is behind that as well. So I'm going to take those three, and I only go three down when more than one flip over. It's just the more you start to take, the weaker the energy gets. So his current intentions, he very, very, very intensely wants to come out of conflict and chaos in this country. He very strongly wants to bring us out of being in our head and playing mind games. This is an intention to bring us to a stable financial place. The Queen of Pentacles is somebody who knows how to run businesses. She's very well-minded. She's rooted. She's routine. She's disciplined. She's loyal. But she has her mind on her money. So with that coming out next to the strength card, that indicates that there's a very strong desire on his part or intention on his part to turn things around for us, to make things better, make things more stable, to help people who want to possibly create businesses, to grow their finances. This may be contrary to what he's actually doing out there. I couldn't say, but I can tell you that what the cards are indicating is that his intentions are very good currently. So even our first card indicates overall intentions are to disrupt, right? Or to disruption's not always bad though. So now it's starting to look like he is considering this card. Now it's starting to look like he is coming in to kind of unmask or shake up systems that we have had in place for a while. But at this point, the cards are indicating it's from a good place. It's from a good place. It's not, I'm not seeing a lot of control. The strength card could be a little bit of control, but since I don't have the devil card here or any other cards that would really indicate that, it's really not that. It's more the strong desire to help people, the country raise up. So let's go back now into the future, or let's go forward into the future. Now this one might be a little bit, I'm going to reshuffle too, leaving these original cards out so they don't come up again. And I also have other decks here if we want to clarify with other decks, but let's see. So let's go for prediction here, Spirit, based off of what I have seen. What's the current timeline or trajectory that we're on with this current president, Mr. Joe Biden? What would the future look like? For this answer, I may have to pull a few cards too. Okay, so the first card I got is the Emperor card in reverse. As you see, he's on a throne. He may be getting dethroned, but we're going to pull a few more cards to see. The next card I got was the Tower. Okay, so I can already tell you right now, my prediction is saying he's not going to be our president again. But let me go a little further. That's why it's really hard to just have one person pull one card and give you a prediction off one card. You really need a little bit depth here. By the way, these are both major arcanas, which means these are kind of happening outside of no matter what he does. It's good. This is what's going to happen. But let's see. A couple more cards here, please, Spirit. For the
minor ones would be like, this is the way the energy is going, but if you change, it can change in another direction.
Exactly. Oh my God, we got three major arcanas for him right in a row. The next one is the High Priestess. Okay. So this is crazy that we got three major arcanas back to back like that. So whatever happens, there really isn't much he's going to be able to do about it. It's going to be destined to happen. And I'm going to tell you my prediction right now is that he is going to not be making our presidential seat again, at least based off of this, that he will be losing his emperor status. He may even have to face something even, for instance, our current ex-president, I guess I do see some things on Facebook, but I guess he's getting charged with stuff. I couldn't say what, but this is possible. This is going to happen here too, because
That Biden will be charged with something.
it is possible. I don't have the legal card here, which would be our justice card, but I do have the emperor card in reverse, the tower card and the high priestess. So what this indicates is there's a lot of hidden stuff that we don't know about that's going to be coming out and getting exposed. With this tower card, there will be a fall of something again. So this could just be his seat as president, or it could just be the actual structure, because the emperor card represents structures and routines and discipline, sitting on our throne, all of these things. So it is very possible that he could be our very last president. I don't really feel that intuitively, but that's what the cards could indicate. I do see him coming out of his position. There is gonna be an element that we weren't expecting. There's gonna be some stuff revealed that we weren't expecting. So I can tell you that right now. Now, would you like me to go deeper into this, or should we switch on to a different?
Yeah, if you're inclined to go a little bit deeper into that, go for it.
Let's see. So
I know there'll be people watching this that if I said, no, let's move on, they'd be like, no, I wanted to go deep.
That's fine. That's totally fine. This is what I do. Let me check on my granddaughter real quick. Yep, she's still sleeping. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper. The question I'm going to ask here, because we've kind of got a prediction, a pretty baseline prediction. Let's find out a little bit more about what this tarot and high priestess card are. So the big shakeup, the big destruction that's hidden, what's that going to entail?
What does the high priestess card generally mean?
The high priestess card is intuition. It's hidden, it's repressed, it's subconscious. It's many different things, but like I'm a high priestess and an empress combined. That is who I am. It means I have pretty much mastered most of the elements in my life journey anyway. Maybe not according to other people, but in my life journey, I've empressed up. But because I'm a high priestess, I'm very in tune with the things we can't see. Okay. And in this particular reading, the high priestess and the tower card and the empress card emperor card in reverse do indicate that there is going to be a big shakeup with something that we were unaware of or were not expecting because of the subconscious card. Okay. Or the high priestess card. So let's see if we can break this down a little bit. Can I get 3 cards, Spirit, to try to break this down a little bit more about what this is? So I got the 10 of Wands. As you see in this card, this is somebody carrying a heavy, heavy, heavy weight, a severe burden of responsibility. Drop the card again. Give me 1 second. I apologize. I'm working out of my daughter's living room, so my setup's a little less comfortable than normal. So the next card I got was the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, so this is the 10 of Pentacles and it's upright. And its reverse is how it came out. 2 10s, 10 and 10. Okay, 10 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles in reverse. One more card, please. There's 2 cards trying to come out here. And we got the Death card in reverse. Okay, and I am actually going to take this one because it's trying to yell at me. The Empress card. He has a lot of major arcanas. Out of 7 cards, 5 of them are major arcanas. Okay. So what this is telling me, there is going to be a huge transformation that he's been resisting, whether this is just him and himself trying to step down as our president. Maybe he's been trying to resist that. But there is something that he's been resisting. Now, what I'm getting is actually more intuitively that this has to do with the 10 of Pentacles is all about money, okay? The 10 of Pentacles back to back with the 10 of Wands would be big endings of financial institutions or our money systems or anything that had to do with financial debt, okay? Coming out with the Death card in the reverse, this is like he's been trying to avoid something for a long time. So maybe this is, I've heard that we've got the money changes coming in. I don't even pay attention to any of that. I probably should more, but I don't. I just figure it'll happen when it happens and I'll just have to go with the flow. But this looks like he's been trying to avoid some sort of collapse or ending to some sort of financial institution. So this could be the debt ceiling. Okay. It could be just as much as the debt that we own. And maybe he's trying to raise the debt ceiling. Again, I'm kind of talking about stuff I don't know 100% as far as the
Now,
accurate terms.
this wouldn't apply to his personal finances. You think it would apply to?
No, this is as a president. Yes.
Oh.
Remember, the original questions I was asking was his intentions as president or leader of the United States. So no, this would not be, I mean, it might run simultaneous with his personal stuff, but no, the question is, this is definitely about him as standing as a presidency. So this is almost like he's been trying to hold off the ending of something financially. And with the Empress coming out on the end here, this is indicating that whatever he's been trying to hold off, that's going to go through regardless. He's not going to be successful in trying to, whatever he's been trying to stop, it's going to happen anyway. So, you know, whatever he's been trying to avoid, the transformation is going to transform and grow, and it's actually going to grow very good. So again, not knowing what he stands for, I can say it like this: whatever President Biden, whatever the programs or things he's been trying to enforce or trying to stop, they're going to go through regardless. So only you know that if you're following the president. I don't. But for the reference, they're going to turn out in our favor. The Empress card is a strong nation rising back up. So that's good. The Empress card would be growth and stepping into more of a heaven on earth type energy versus the Tower type energy, where we were more worried about institutions and building and growing. Now we're going to start going into a little bit more being more worried about earth and nature and animals and planets and more harmonistic things. So that is kind of vague, again, not knowing specifically having anything to do with President Biden. That's the best I can give you.
All right. Well, sounds good.
All right. So you said you had another one.
Oh, well, I've got at least 4 more. But
all right.
The next one would be who I believe is still the Republican frontrunner, Donald Trump.
Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. All right, so I'm going to blast my little energy thing again. Please, everybody, watch your ears if you're listening. All right, I'm going to clear the energy out. And we're going to pull intentions first, overall intentions. For Donald Trump. Clear and accurate messages, please. Oh, that one just fell right off the bottom of the deck, so I'm going to take it. Okay, so we got the sacral chakra in reverse, and I'll go a little bit deeper in a second. I'm actually going to pull another one because that's going to be a little too vague. Okay, so I'm going to pull another one to back that one up for clarification. The sacral chakra card in reverse could indicate imbalance in emotions, like just like either he personally or is trying to really tap into people's anger, you know, trying to bring up, because the sacral chakra is all about the water element, which is your feelings and emotions. With it being in reverse, this is somebody who is either trying to tap into people's emotions on purpose to get them in this type of energy, or he is personally in this. But it is okay. So this actually changes a little bit the meaning now. So the card I got is spiritual union, similar to the Two of Cups. And so I'm actually going to believe the sacral chakra in reverse is actually him then. Okay, this is just intuitively what I'm giving you, that the sacral card in reverse, meaning he has a lot of anger or emotional upset about what's going on right now, because his actual intentions so far, again, we still have to pull more tarot cards, are for union. are for it good. The Two of Cups, the spiritual union card, is an excellent card to get here. It's saying that my intentions and my actions might not look a certain way, or excuse me, my actions and my external might not look a certain way, but my intentions are to bring everything into harmony for equal give and take among all involved. Okay, so that's what that card would be. So let's go now into past, present, and future for Donald J. Trump. And this is as a president, as our leader of the United States, not so much him personally. I'll kind of have an idea if it's more him or if it's more his intentions, but. All right. Clear and accurate messages, please, Spirit. Calling in the Holy Spirit and Archangel Michael to hold down for truth. Truth and accuracy, please. Clear cut, truth and accuracy. Past for Donald J. Trump. Past intentions for Donald J. Trump. One tried to go out and I accidentally pushed it back in. It's okay though, everything happens for a reason. All right, so the first card I got is the Five of Cups in reverse. Kind of a dark, a little bit ominous card. We've got a cloaked figure here looking down at the three cups that spilled out, not paying attention to the two standing cups that are full behind him. But this one came out in reverse. So I'm going to pull a clarification.
Is that a pessimistic sort of?
It would be, yeah, it would be kind of looking at the glass half empty instead of half full. But because it's in the reverse, okay, the main meaning still applies, but because it's in the reverse, this is my intentions to try to pull us out of that. This is my intentions to try to think more positive, to try to look at what we have versus what we've lost, okay? Let me get a clarification on this Five of Cups, please, Spirit. Thank you. So I got the King of Swords in reverse and the Star card in reverse. Okay, so this right here in the past, he may have either felt that the country as a whole was losing a lot of hope, whether it was his personal viewpoint or just how he believes the country is. He may have been coming at things from a very narcissistic point of view. Excuse me, my King of Swords and my King of Wands in reverse are my narcissist cards for me personally as a reader. This is somebody who's trying to control and dominate from a very unhealthy standpoint because of their fear versus their looking out for people. See, an emperor will look out for everybody who's involved. A king is still only looking out for his interest of the kingdom he is in charge of. So for instance, our president would be for America, right? We would be his kingdom. Yeah. Because it's in reverse, this is somebody who's possibly very careless with their words. And I smile because I do happen to know he's like that. So you have to forgive me. Yeah, so you have to forgive me. There is a little bit of bias because I do know a little bit about Trump, but not much. But this is literally losing his fame and star status as well. If you remember, before he was our president, he was, famous. He was a star, and of course, he's still famous as president. But that star, the eagle-feeling star, fame and fortune, greed, money, all of that, he did lose that in the past when he, I guess, stepped into more of a presidential role. Yeah. But it does look like. The energy honestly is a little bit darker for her past. I'm going to be interested to see what the current and future show. But yeah, King of Swords in reverse isn't really somebody you want in your corner unless you really need to pull out the dark, heavy hitters. It's like bringing a gun to a sword fight. If you're needing to really bring in the bad, I don't want to say the wrong word, the heavy hitters, I guess I'll just say. We're on YouTube. I know certain words get us blocked, but so King of Swords is somebody who's going to come in and get the job handled, and they don't care who they hurt. They're very emotionally inept. They don't tap into their intuitive side at all. So they're just gonna be like, yep, that's okay. Cut this, cut that. We need to do this.
That was how he handled the media. He went hard after the media over and over again and didn't care.
So that probably, you know, like you say, that probably makes sense. Now let's find out what current energy is. Okay, so current is going to be pretty much anything we're dealing with right now. President Donald J. Trump, please. Current intentions. Current intentions. Okay, so I got the Ace of Swords is the first one. Did you want to see that a little bit better? Okay, so the first thing is current intentions, in my opinion, is to okay, first of all, aces are new beginnings. Okay, so he's trying to intend to obviously come back into his kingdom. If you notice at the top of the sword is an actual crown. Okay. So the thing is that he still wants to come in as president, obviously. I mean, that's anybody could guess that. But this time it looks like he wants to bring an element of truth. And I'm going to rule with an iron fist, but I'm going to rule from a place of integrity and truth. So far, that's what this is looking at. Let me pull some more cards.
I try so hard not to go into Trump impressions while you're doing this.
So the next card I have is the Nine of Pentacles. That's a beautiful card to get here too as well, because the Nine of Pentacles is kind of like the minor arcana card to the Empress card. So this is coming in to change things around that hopefully we can get. I'm going to assume America because he's our president, and this is, but get things where we are back up in earning money again. The Nine of Pentacles is an abundance energy. It's an energy of abundance. It's about health, beautiful, wealth. You know, these are, if you pull this as a person, this means you're starting to take care of your physical well-being. You're starting to take care of how you eat. You're starting to really want to see the beauty in things versus the darkness in things. So this is a huge difference from his past, because the past energy was very dark energy. This is very light energy. So let's see, I'm going to pull one more for this particular. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords. Okay, so for this particular one, I'm going to have to pull up a cheat sheet just for a second, because I want to make sure I know what the Three of Swords means. It's about heartache, grief, loss, but because we're asking in an area I'm not 100% knowledgeable in, I'm going to make sure to use it appropriately. All right, let's go back here. So to me, before this is still pulling up, to me, this is talking about President Donald Trump. His intentions to come in, if he's made president again, is to come in and heal, even though that this card would indicate broken heart, loss, tragedy, because it's prefaced by these other two cards. This is him coming in and wanting to heal our nation from the brokenness of our nation is the best way to say that. Let me pull this up one more time here, though, just to make sure, or I never pulled it up the first time. It's still coming up right now. Okay, so I think we would go under. Yeah. So it's basically the same thing I just said. It's about coming out of disillusionment or losses. This could very, very much also be saying that he is going to lose this, but we'll find out more in the predicament in the future. But this is about loss. Okay. This is about healing something from loss, redeeming myself from the Nine of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords. That would be redeeming myself from a heartache or a loss that I have suffered, or even as a nation that we have suffered. Okay, so let's go a little bit more into the future now, because that's going to be able to help me come back a little bit more and touch on this present as well. Let's see, for current timeline and trajectory for Donald J. Trump, please. Prediction for the future for Donald J. Trump as our president of the United States. We got the Knight of Swords is the first one out. I'm going to pull a few more. So the Knight of Swords is a very fast energy. It comes in very harsh. The Knight of Swords is somebody who comes in to defend your honor very hard. Problem is we have the Seven of Swords right after that. And that's definitely not the card you want to see with anybody who's in charge of us to come up. But it doesn't always necessarily mean bad. Let me pull a couple more cards. I'm going to get a full.
What does the Seven of Swords normally mean?
Seven of Swords is lying, cheating, deception, stealing, taking, but it can also be strategically planning. So we have to wait and get more cards here. So the next card is the Ace of Pentacles right after this. Okay. The Ace of Pentacles is all about success. It's actually a gift, literally a God-given gift of divine intervention coming in to save the day is kind of actually what this is. But we now have the Judgment card in reverse. And, you know, it's funny that both of the presidential candidates pulled the Judgment card. So to me, that automatically says that both of them, it was in their destiny. It wasn't just some fluke. This was something that was predestined for them to be. And, you know, depending on your current knowledge, anything that happens really is destiny. But so here's the thing. I have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is somebody who's still going to come in very fast, hot, and aggressive. Okay, they're going to be using their sword. They're going, which is the tongue. Okay, they're going to be using their tongue, their knowledge, their intellect, their wit. They're going to come in and they're going to just lay it down. So this is possibly coming at the next election very aggressively. Like, let's go at this hard now. With the Seven of Swords. Normally, this would be a card of lying and deception or cheating or trying to steal or deception. I'm actually leaning away from that. Let me pull one more card here and I'll tell you why. Because I have the Ace of Pentacles right after it. So to me, that's talking about now I would use the Seven of Swords card a little bit more for him trying to, he has a strategic plan and he's hiding this plan from a lot of people. He's not telling everybody. It's like, so the Seven of Swords, I want you to look at this card. This is somebody, you can't really see it very easily in here, but there's a campground in the back, okay? There's a tent and it's a campground. And the Seven of Swords is somebody who literally snuck into the camp of the people, his enemies or whoever the camp is, and he stole all their swords so they can't attack him. Okay? So yes, it's a card of lying, cheating, and deception, but it's also a card of very, very wise strategy because he has the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles here. He also has the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. To me, this is saying that he has a much deeper plan that has not been exposed to those of us that are following him. I shouldn't have included myself in that for his followers. But there is an element of sneakiness here. So, you know, sneakiness isn't always bad. Sometimes you can't lay all your information down if you have a whole country relying on you. To me, this almost indicates that he has some type of knowledge of something out of our country. So like I said, you're sneaking into the other camp, right? And so to me, this is somehow kind of indicating that he has information on something that's going to come out and surprise people, because with the Judgment card in reverse, it's not over. Something's not over. Okay.
What does that mean, the Judgment card in reverse?
The Judgment card is about a higher calling, revival, okay? But when the Judgment card is in reverse, can also be about being unsure, being not 100% sure right now. Still, the decision hasn't been made yet. So this can literally be saying that the divine or the consciousness is still working behind the scenes to make this decision, but something's not over here. So at this time, my prediction would be he's still in the running, even contrary to whatever he's going through right now, because this indicates that, you know, the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is like things not turning out the way we thought they were going to turn out. So it's almost as if I'm feeling like my advice to you or anybody watching this would be like, don't be surprised that he may still come back in and take this next election. Okay. So that would be my, that's all I can give you. If it was more clear, I'd give you
both very interesting readings for the two, I guess, front runners. But But now we're moving into probably one of the most interesting people because he just sort of emerged onto the scene presidentially, which is RFK Jr. on the Democrat side.
Really? Wow, I'm really out of, I didn't even know that. I'm really out of that world.
Have you heard of RFK Jr. before in any capacity?
I'm assuming RFK Jr. is a Kennedy
Yeah.
descendant?
Yeah, he's JFK's nephew.
Okay, so
son.
then, yeah, I've heard of him, but no
Yeah.
following. That's insane. I actually kind of am starting to get goosebumps. I don't know why. Let's see.
Let's find out.
For me, my intuition my goosebumps comes out when we're on to something. We're like, we're on to something here. So let's see. All right. Reshuffle these. RFK Jr., huh? So how many candidates do we have so far?
I'm not sure. I'm just going to go through the 4 major ones.
Okay.
And then because there might be like 10 total or more at this point.
Weren't there like last presidential election or the one before that? Wasn't there like?
Well, in the Republican primary, there was like 24 people running or some crazy number like that in 2016, I think. So yeah, there weren't as many last time, but at least on the Republican side, there were just like a boatload of people. But yeah, we don't have too long, so maybe only 4 or 5 today.
No, that's fine. Okay, let me clear the energy real quick. Just making sure my granddaughter's still asleep. So at home, I might just be burning sage while I'm reading, but here I'm not going to do that at my daughter's house. So we have to use them. All right. So RFK Jr., that's what we're referring to him as.
Yeah.
Let's find out the
I think that's how he's usually referred to instead of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
All right. Clear and accurate messages, please, Spirit. We'd like to find out the intention. Okay. Well, that came out quick. Didn't even have to finish answering. I got harmony in reverse. Okay. Now, again, remember, this doesn't necessarily mean bad because sometimes you need somebody to come in and shake things up. Okay. Yeah. But he also is harmony in reverse. This would be your lover's card in reverse in traditional tarot. So if you want to look that up. So the lover's card in reverse is to separate, is to disunion, to have an uncoupling, to have disharmony. So it's kind of like that 2 of Cups that President Trump got. This one's more of a major arcana, so it's a little more serious. All right, so we're going to go past, present, and future for say it again,
RFK Jr.
RFK, okay. Let's go past energy, please, for RFK Jr. Okay, so I got the High Priestess card, but I'm being told to take 2 cards here. And the other card I got is the 6 of Cups. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card for this past position. So he may have, the 6 of Cups is a card you're going to get for people who are humanitarians. Okay, they're more about giving and helping people. Okay, the High Priestess is also somebody who's very intuitive, who is, these 2 cards together would be good cards together if I didn't just pull the Knight of Wands in the reverse and the Emperor card in reverse. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. It's possible in his past that he had good intentions here, okay? It is possible in his past that he either had hidden knowledge or he's just an intuitive person. The High Priestess card and the 6 of Cups together is going to be somebody who's, they're very kind and they can just sense that things need to be done. So they're very loving. They're in their more empathic state. Mm-hmm. With the Emperor card in reverse and the Knight of Wands in reverse, this indicates that either he or somebody near him has been trying to knock him off his throne. Okay, so I don't know if he went through something in his past. I couldn't say. Again, I don't follow politics, where there was a lot of anger or violence, or maybe he literally was dethroned from trying to be in some position of power. Obviously, if he's running,
both his father and his uncle were assassinated. Do you think it has to do with that, or is it
very, very much so, because as I just said, this has to be him or somebody around him. So, and honestly, I didn't even make that as it just came out. It just came out. So this is the Knight of Wands, though. This is this is somebody being taken away from a situation who was in power. So this probably is a little bit more about that. He is not going to be as harsh. Let's say he does make it into presidency. We'll get to that in a minute, but I can tell you he's not going to be as well balanced as perhaps his predecessors. Okay. Because and you know, maybe that's what we need, though, because he is going to be more in tune. He'd be like me trying to rule a country, you know, trying to be very well balanced, but oh, well, let's make sure everybody's happy. We want to respect and take care of everybody. Okay. Because the intuition, the High Priestess card and that Six of Cups, that's somebody like me. I want everybody to be happy. I really do. That's just my intention. So I'm always going to try to find a happy medium for everybody. These other two cards, again, whether this was him being knocked off or, like you said, his family members, that's very possible, because the Knight of Wands is violence. It is, you know, an energy of aggressiveness, a bullying, a bullyish type behavior. So honestly, it's almost as if either he was in some form of higher office, and he either lost that office or lost respects in that office because of his aggression, or like you just said earlier when you said it, somebody else coming in to knock somebody off of their ruling pedestal. So it could really be either or, and it can actually be both. Both of those can be accurate. So let's go to current for RFK Jr. The card that fell out was the Page of Swords in reverse. I don't like that. That's a card of spying, espionage. Sorry. In regards to this particular question, I don't know if I'd like that, but we'll see. Got the Nine of Cups. And I got the Moon card in reverse. Okay, so the Moon card in reverse is similar to the High Priestess. Okay, the difference is that the Moon or the High Priestess is an actual person or entity. Okay, the Moon is an energy that's coming from the Moon, but it's also about the hidden, the subconscious, the fear. When it's in reverse, these are things being exposed as well. Okay, things coming to light, us overcoming fears. So here's the thing, I can read this in a couple of different ways, and I'm going to read them in all, and please use your own intuition, you and anybody watching, to if it resonates, you'll know. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not correct. But so I've got the Page of Swords in reverse. This is a card of somebody who is either spying on others or obsessively watching them. Okay, so what would he be spying on or obsessively watching? That's a good question. I really don't have the answer to that at this time. But with the Moon card in reverse here, this is telling me that it's going to be exposed, whatever it is. So either what he's watching or investing himself in, he is going to be exposing something, or something's going to be exposed about him being an actual spy of some sort, or being involved with information he probably shouldn't be, I guess. So spy isn't the best word possibly to use here, but spy is somebody who is into things that aren't necessarily their business. They're watching other things. Okay, so there's many different ways to kind of read this, but with the Nine of Cups sitting right in between this is somebody who's a bit haughty, a little bit in their ego. This is somebody who's like, I got this all under control. I know I got this. You know, you have to be careful with the Nine of Cups, definitely as a leader, because this is somebody who, you know, they have everything that they need, everything that they want. They really have a strong backing of people who want to see them in this position. But sometimes the Nine of Cups, it can go to their head. Okay. So and the problem with that is when we start to step more into ego, even though Cups is a water energy, I'm just telling you the dark side of the Nine of Cups. Okay. And the reason I'm going there is because we have the Moon card right next to it. So that takes the Nine of Cups from a more luminous reading meaning to a more darker meaning.
Hmm.
And so because of this, this is somebody we want to be careful because they are trying to rule. Okay. The problem is, and I want you to look at this card very, very much. He is surrounded by this table that's in a round position around him that has 9 cups on it. Are you following me? If you notice, he is in the middle on a wooden stool, sitting there with his arms crossed because he thinks he has it all figured out, right?
Hmm.
The problem is that if you really look at this card, this is how tarot works. What's standing out to me is the height difference. He's down low in the middle of the table that's higher than him with these 9 cups above him.
Hmm.
Okay. So to me, this is indicating that he thinks he's pulling the strings, but he's actually, he may have a strong backing, by the way. He may have a lot of people backing him. But the problem with that is that he won't be controlling the country. Those people that are backing him will be controlling him, and then he will be controlling the country. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, that would personally, just as a person who is on the other side of this, I would say that that's probably not the best candidate that you would want to be running a country, but let's see what the future says. Sometimes we get surprises. All right. Future, RFK Jr., please. Considering the presidency or leader of this country. Future for RFK Jr. I got the Ace of Pentacles. A lot of the same cards coming out here for these three so far. Give me a couple more cards here, please. Okay. So we got the 6 of Swords that landed on the table, and also the 5 of Pentacles landed on the table in reverse. And I'll go over a little bit more about what these mean. Can I get one more, please, on prediction of him as president? Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, my personal prediction is he will not make it into presidency. Okay, again, if I'm wrong, that's okay. I know how to take a loss just like the rest of them. I'm going to say he's not going to make it. Either he is going to, I should probably make sure I'm a little careful with what I just said. Okay. I can see that it's possible he would still, he is more trying to turn things around. The 6 of Swords is about moving on from choppy waters. The 6 of Swords is about moving an energy, either myself or a relationship, or as we're talking about, a country, from a place where the waters were choppy, things were not going good. So we get in the boat, we literally take all our swords and we head into calmer waters. Okay, so that's a good card to get. The 5 of Pentacles in reverse. In its upright, this is a card of destitution, of homelessness. Okay, this is a card of sickness or illness, or this is not a card you'd want to get in its upright position in a reading like this, but we got it in its reverse, which indicates, again, he's trying to possibly, or even in the future, he may literally be pulling us out of a place of devastation, whether this is, recovering from COVID or recovering from our financial issues, whatever our country has suffered. The 9 of Cups, or excuse me, the 9 of Swords in reverse. In its upright, this is a card of somebody who can't sleep at night. They have so much anxiety and insomnia, they can't sleep. So they have so much on their mind. All 9 of these swords are just up floating on the air and they can't get them out of their head. But in its reverse, this is a long recovery. This is somebody who's helping us recover. So the reason I said, though, that I don't see him making it is because I have such minor arcanas here. Okay. So the minor arcanas are, there's too much room to play with here. Again, so nothing's really set in stone. And because of this, I think I might have used a little bit of my own bias just from the cards I'm seeing, because I see him as being a little bit more of the nicer version, the nicer candidate. And we all know our nicer candidates never seem to make it. Okay. That's just my personal opinion. Now, the cards are indicating the future is anything that's an ace is, if you see the hand coming out of the sky with the pentacle in it, these are divine gifts from above. This is a new beginning or a gift or an intervention of some sort coming from the divine or source or higher realms. Okay. So this would be basically an intervention or a gift to move us on out of bad turmoil, illness, financial destitution, and with the 9 of Swords, possibly 9 years of recovery. So, you know, I have to say, I can't stand firm on my first prediction here. It could go either way. It's not really saying. What do I have at the bottom of the deck? Okay. So the bottom of the deck would probably indicate my first prediction is going to be correct, but we'll have to see. Bottom line, though, is his intentions, because that's pretty much what the readings are about, more on their intentions. His intentions are to take us from a place of destitution or poverty or illness into a place of recovery where things calm down and smooth out for us. So whether he's going to make it or not, I guess we'll have to see.
All right. So the last one we'll do is Ron DeSantis on the Republican side.
Ron DeSantis, isn't he a governor somewhere or something?
Yeah. The governor of Florida.
Florida, right? Florida? Yeah. Oh gosh, all I've heard is bad things about that man. So I can't tell you. And I don't even let people go into him. They're just like, oh, Ron DeSantis. And I'm like, please stop. I don't like politics. So trust me, I'm not biased on that one. I just
we'll
know
see
I
what the
haven't heard
cards
good
say.
things. Let's see. Let's see. And I'm going to do an extra second on my bowl because I need to ground out a little bit of bias, because of this one, I am a little bit, I have heard some kind of negative things. So give me a second to ground out a little bit of my bias, and we will go back to it. All right, so anybody who is listening, I'm about to play my meditation bowl again to clear out the energy. I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. Grounding out all bias or preconceived notions or belief systems, giving them back to Gaia to be transmuted back to light and love, opening my mind to higher consciousness of truth. Ron DeSantis, here we go. Let's do this. Intention, Ron DeSantis. I'm already just getting this. I don't even know him. I've never seen him speak, but I'm getting a very egotistical person. So I don't know. I'm just getting that feeling. Again, I'm just sharing my intuition with you, but let's see. Intention of Ron DeSantis. Overall intention of Ron DeSantis as president or leader of the United States of America. We got that sacral, that solar plexus chakra again. Okay, but that's good. He at least, no, we got sacral for president.
Yeah, the other one was sacral.
In reverse. This one is solar plexus. This is good. That means he's very confident. I'm going to pull one more for this, though. I mean, he's very confident. He believes in himself. One more. Okay, so I got the material harvest card. So basically that's similar to that 9 of Pentacles, which would be similar to the Minor Arcana Empress card. Okay. And I'm only sharing this with you for anybody who wants to go look a little bit deeper into this. But so this basically is excellent. He's confident that he can turn things around. He's confident that he can help us build our money back up, our systems back up. He's confident. If you like literally look in this card, so this is where your symbols come in. We've got a stack of coins here. We have healthy fruit here. Okay. We have green growing stuff here, whatever that is. It's like a plant that he has planted in here. And behind we have the structures. If you see these structures behind him, okay, they're like pillars, but they're almost invisible. They're like, so it's like, what I'm getting from this is he's coming in to break down those structures. They're still going to be there. He's going to implement them, but it's not going to be solid. It's not like he's coming in at this from a different aspect, which is contrary to my intuition that I kind of got that egoistic feeling. So we're going to have to see what the cards get, because these two cards Maybe it's just extreme confidence I'm picking up on. Okay. And again, my triggers could be, or my bias could be feeling that as egoism. But the truth is, these two cards together, and if you even notice, he's got the yellow around his head. Okay. This is a very strong, confident leader. So this actually is looking good so far. So again, maybe I'm just interpreting that a little bit differently, but let's see. The cards were shuffled very well. We're going to go with past for Ron DeSantis. Past for Ron DeSantis. And by the way, this is my first ever doing this type of reading. So I'm going to be very interested to see how the results turn out.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait a little while.
Yeah. So, okay, funny. I was saying something about ego. That is the ego card. That's the very first card that came out, the strength card. So there is some ego here, okay? And, ego's not always bad. A lot of spiritual people are always saying, get out of your ego. Ego serves a purpose. It really does. It wouldn't be here if it didn't. Let me pull 2 more cards on this so I can get a little bit more. So again, we've got lots of yellow here. Yellow is that the solar plexus chakra. It's confidence. It's believing in yourself. It's knowing who you are very confidently. The next card that came out is the moon card in reverse. I think that's come out in 3 readings in a row.
Main card, did you say?
Moon card.
Moon card. Okay.
Yeah. I think we just got that with the last one, and I think we had it. I think we've had that 3 cards in a row. I can't be 100% sure, but so the moon card coming out in reverse. Again, this is coming out of a shadow element, coming back into the light. So this could be indicating that maybe he was a little bit of an ego tripper in the past. Okay. And he's getting ready to try to come out of that. The third card I have is the Ace of Wands. Okay. So in the past, this is somebody who was very, I know what I want. I'm going to go after it. Very probably aggressive, lots of really great ideas and inspiration from above. These are divine plans he's getting from above. With the moon card in reverse, it looks like he may have went through a time of either being the underdog or the shadow for a while. And he's trying to turn that around. Okay. So that's actually not bad. These aren't bad cards. All right. He has a lot of passion. I can tell you that right now, a lot of passion. Like he firmly believes in himself and whatever it is he's standing for. Like out of all the presidents so far, he's by far really believes in himself. Let's just put it that way. Let's go to more present. Let's go for the present energy for Ron DeSantis. Okay, so this is the one I'm being told to draw. And I got that King of Swords in reverse. Remember, that's kind of my little bit of a doesn't mind to speak their mind, sometimes doesn't care who they hurt in the process. It can be a bit of a narcissist card, but sometimes the truth has to come out too. And we have the Fool card in reverse. So here's the thing. He may be acting in very immature, foolish, or reckless ways right now with the King of Swords in reverse and the Fool cards in reverse. Even though the Fool card is all about new beginnings, so this could be clearly saying right now he's not getting the new beginning he was hoping for. It's just not, things aren't going well for him. But it's really about the characteristics of the Fool card, the archetype of the Fool, and it's upright. It's somebody that's like a new baby. Oh, everything is new to them. They just, they think, you could put a cracker in front of them and they think it's the best thing ever. But in reverse, this is somebody who might take things for granted or be a little bit reckless with that energy. Careless, not making possibly the wisest decisions. You definitely don't want the Fool card probably at all in your presidential candidates readings, because it is it's a flighty energy. Okay, we don't stay in it's not a very grounded energy. It's I'm just down for whatever. I'll just go whatever direction you want me to go in. And so that's a little bit tricky of an energy. Let me pull one more though for this. Okay. So the card that came out, and I'm actually taking, I got the 7 of Pentacles. That's again, every one of these readings has pulled out the 7 of Pentacles. And the cards that flipped over on accident with my hand, I'm going to just take the top one is also the 2 of Pentacles. So, because I believe everything happens for a purpose. That's why I'm taking it. So basically what I'm getting here is whatever programs or things, and I'm not sure the right word here, that he's trying to create, they're not well thought out. they're not well, they're coming from a very immature standpoint, meaning they haven't had the time to grow yet into big systems or great ideas. With the Two of Pentacles, this is somebody who needs to find more balance because they're back and forth. This really, the first thing that just came to my head was Trump when he went from Democrat to Republican and back and forth. Okay. So that's literally what just came to my head. So this could be party jumping, I guess is what it's called, or something like that. Jumping from one party to the other, or just really being a little bit unsure of exactly which direction you're trying to go in. But the Two of Pentacles is about finding balance and harmony and going with the flow and being flexible. The problem is it was prefaced with very immature energy. So these cards in themselves are not bad cards. These are good cards. But since they were prefaced with these two in reverse, this does tell me that he's probably a bit ungrounded in his energy, kind of a little bit all over the place, back and forth, wishy-washy. That's the word I'm looking for, wishy-washy. So if you're following him only, you would know. I have no clue, but I would say he's not really 100% in the trustworthy category yet. Not so far yet. He was in the beginning, but that kind of switched it around a little bit. So now let's go to the future for Ron DeSantis. Nine of Cups in reverse. Ace of Swords. All the same cards out of 78 cards. All of these same cards are coming out. That's crazy. To me, that kind of tells me that it's like a lot of them are very close, good candidates, good options. They're running similar, mindsets, but we also have the Four of Pentacles here. Okay, that's a little different. Yeah, I don't see him making it at all, and I will stay with that. Again, that's just my interpretation. So for the future, it does look like he may fall off his throne with some sort of truth coming in. He's been hoarding or holding on to something in some sort of greedy manner, whether this is maybe having involvings in money of some sort, hidden money somewhere or something along the lines. It does look like something like that may be getting ready to come out. He does have good intentions overall for the most part. Unfortunately, it does look like at this current time of this reading, he's not 100% grounded on his stance. So he may be letting other people, like following the crowd as a candidate, letting other people kind of pull his strings a little bit more than standing strong in his own belief system. Now, the Ace of Swords and the Four of Pentacles are stable energies, but because they come after the Nine of Cups in reverse, I would say that that's kind of telling me that he's probably not going to get this position that he's going up for. This is a dream of his. This is something that he's wanted to do, the Nine of Cups. He wanted it to be a wish. The Nine of Cups in reverse says your wish will not be granted. So again, we will see. But there is something here with money for sure that may be coming out. Or maybe this is just saying that he had some really great ideas in how to turn our money around. So ultimately, since I don't see him making actual presidency, it's possible he may still be getting somehow his intention. Because at the bottom of the deck, I have the Ace of Cups in reverse, the Four of Swords, and the Devil card. Okay, so that's what, and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Those are all cards that indicate he's probably not going to be getting this. He still has ties in other areas. He still, he may even, lose, end a cycle. I'm going to say it like this. He may end a cycle before his dreams of becoming presidents come into fruition. So cycles can be anything from positions to relationships to our life in general. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to go from there. But yeah, if I had to pick out of these four so far, did you want to do one more?
No, I think that's enough for now. We could just.
If I had to predict, honestly, who'd we have the first one? Who was the first one?
Biden.
He was a no. It's going to be between the second and the third one.
Trump or RFK Jr.
Yeah, that's where I'm seeing it. Based off the cards, as a human being who is not politically biased or based, I'm actually going to go for my desire is for RFK Jr. to get this position, just based off the cards. So, but that's
Your
just
desire or your prediction?
my desire. Like
Oh.
I would, if
You
I
think
had to
that
put in a
looks the
vote
best?
based off of these cards, he's who I'd vote for. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Personally, because I'm
So
more
based off the
about,
cards, who seems the most likely to get it?
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just feel like it's hard to say that, but it does look like Trump is actually going to get it. And based off of what's going on out there in the world, apparently that would seem insane, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it's looking like. But let's see. I would like to find out. I would like to find out if I'm right or wrong.
We will find out, right? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, Dawn. There was one comment. I'm not sure what this guy was asking about.
Is he still on?
Well, I don't know, but I may have missed the comment earlier. He said he's a spiritual auditor working on a documentary about monetization of readers. I was sent your way for comment. I will send you the link when the doc is done. Thank you in advance. Josh, no comment, question mark. I'm fair, Josh. I was sent your way comment, please. 7 of Cups upside down, Josh. Yeah, so I'm not sure what he was saying there, but
7 of Cups upside down. That's all about illusions. I don't know.
well, I'll see if I can reach out to him on his channel.
Interesting though about monetization. Yeah, as far as I don't know. I know that it probably has something to do with, the way that a lot of readers are making their money now. So I don't know.
Well, anyway, it was a very interesting talk, and it was also a very interesting set of presidential readings.
Yes, I hope that's brought clarity to whoever watches this, and anybody who has any questions about tarot or how to maybe use it a little bit more. I believe Joshua has added my Facebook group or my Facebook down below. And any questions you leave here, if he feels that they were directed towards me, I'm sure he'll get them to me. So thank you.
The links are in the description where you can find Dawn on her YouTube channel or Facebook groups. And I end each interview asking to the guest, can you tap into your intuition and see if there's any message from, with cards or without, your preference, if there's any message you have for the audience.
Any message for the audience? Okay, so the only thing I'm really getting is we're getting ready to go into times that what you're seeing on media and what you're seeing, you can't trust everything. There's a lot of lip overs and sync overs and voiceovers, and just to be very, very careful. Always anything you see to really follow it up with other, if you see one thing, don't just believe it, go make sure you see it in 3 other places, or, this is just with everything, because we're going as a whole into times of a great deception. So just be careful of that. Okay. Let's see what the cards say though. I'll pull 3 cards. Intuitive message for the audience. So the first card we get is the Page of Pentacles. It actually flipped out upside down and then flipped around into its upright as it landed. Then we got the 7 of Pentacles. That card's very popular today. And the Devil card. Ooh.
Ooh, scary.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not really scary. It's just, it's deep. It's deep energy. So this to me is saying, to be aware of your thoughts, because your thoughts will manifest into things, and to make sure that your thoughts are not on dark energy, because the Seven of Pentacles is all about your harvest. Beware the seeds you're planting now. And by seeds, I mean the things you're doing, the things you're speaking, the things you're thinking. These are the seeds you're actually you're planting now. And when your harvest comes, you want to make sure that it's not going to be devil energy, okay? Because these are basically lessons that we're tied into to learn karmic lessons and darker energies, and by not being cognizant of the seeds we're putting out there. The Page of Pentacles is all about getting out, getting grounded, get out into earth, learn new things. The Page of Pentacles is a student who's ready to learn new things. It's time to open up your perspectives to new ways of learning. We are heavy pentacles here. So this is all about the seeds you've been planting are getting ready to harvest, and then you have good things coming in. But with that devil energy there, I think it's being mindful of getting into shadow work. That's the first question I'm getting. It's time to do some shadow work. But the second thing is beware of any commitments or ties you get yourself energetically involved in, because sometimes what appears to be the greatest thing ever ends up being the devil. Okay, so that's the message.
All right. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks for a great conversation. And thanks everybody for watching.
You're very
if
welcome.
you liked it, leave a like and consider subscribing. Till then.